So I'm going to be talking about 360 imagery and its use cases for manufacturing. So yeah, if you're not familiar with 360 images, it's like taking, imagine taking four photos from all directions and stitching them together, and you get this sort of like spherical photo of the complete space. And from that, there's some good use cases from it. One of the most popular would be 360 tours. So you can see here on the screen, there's this is our IMR tour that's available on our website. And what it is basically a gallery of these 360 images, and the way they're positioned and the way that you maneuver between them, it gives this sort of feeling that you're actually moving through a space. And it makes it a great kind of cheap way to digitize a location. But most of the use cases for this is for house viewings and also tourism. So at, let's say, at certain landmarks. And because of that, there's not much, since they're so popular, there's not much tools out there to create them for manufacturing. And we found a few use cases that the current things that are on the market don't meet the requirements of manufacturing companies. And as you can see, you got a few devices around the slide there as well, some AR devices and VR devices. And that's they're two examples of it. Creating content for AR and VR can be quite expensive. And we found that all the data that you'd use to create a 360 tour is enough data to produce a VR application or an AR application. And again, that's something I'll go into in the further slides. And then lastly, I just want to point out an example of a 360 camera there. You can see that sort of spherical ball there, and it's got a bunch of lenses. So you can see here it's taking photos from all directions. So yeah, first of all, how a 360 tour is made. So yeah, typically it's made with, you have some sort of editor that will output a file format with the instructions and the content, and so the images or what other content you might embed in it. And then that file format can then go into a viewer, and that's what the users use to maneuver the location. So typically we like to use a web browser viewing app, just because it works on any device that has a web browser. You do see some that are built onto specific native apps that you install on specific devices. So the first step, I guess, is taking your 360 photos. So you just go around your facility and snap some photos with a camera, a specific 360 camera. We like to do it every 5 meters or so. And then you just take those images and you bring them to whatever the editor is you're using. You can see a video there of the one that we use at IMR. We create this sort of form-based editor. So it's very straightforward. You just type in the name of the spaces, you drop in the images, and then you drop in any content. It's worth noting also on any content, we've noticed that because most tours don't actually support a lot of complex data, but we found that there's no reason you can't. So like we like to use 3D models, live data, or more complex dashboards to embed into it as well. The editor doesn't have to be form-based. We believe that you can make it even simpler again, and that's something that we'd like to work towards. And you see some things taking this approach. So like it should be as easy as putting a PowerPoint slides together, if you think of it. So each space is a slide. You drop in the image, and then you just drag and drop in whatever other content you want, and you just place it wherever you want it in the image. And it shouldn't be more difficult than that. Most of the 360 tour creation tools on the market also, they host it on the cloud, so it can be accessible anywhere. But we found that working with some companies that we actually want to host it offline or locally on premises on their own servers, so only internal people can access it. And again, there's no reason you can't support that. And again, taking the approach of using a web browser app and just exporting the file into a very easy to host format, just text and the folder of the image, the content allows us to achieve this. And then lastly, having this sort of easy to use editor, it's great for quickly iterating and duplicating content. So like we created the IMR tour, it's mostly the one on the website, it's mostly kind of promotional and marketing material. And so what we found is that the idea that in the editor, we can just copy and paste it. So we were able to just duplicate it, so we don't have to remake the tour again, and then swap in like the content for a more internal use case, which was live data and more complex data. So then one of the kind of unique features then we found was like working with the forecourts. There was a use case that they want to help people find different courtrooms. we found that there's no reason the 360 tours can't support that. So typically, how they'd work is the user would maneuver through the space at their own pace and just explore. But what we've added is the functionality in the viewer end. So there's no more hassle on content creation or anything to achieve this. It's just that in the viewer, if you select the location you want to go, it will look at the location you are and find the fastest route to get there. And then it will just guide you there. And we've got a video here from the iMore. So here you can see him in the car park, and I select that I want to go to the additive lab 3. And it just takes you there one by one, so the user doesn't have to input anything, and it just automatically guides you there. We have another example of this with more UI that shows sort of timeline for the more complex routes, but that's not in this video. So the next one is immersive training. So creating linear tours. So yeah, mostly, again, like I said, most of the tours that people are using, you explore a space, but we found it's actually quite useful to create linear tours so that the user can't go on to the next space until they complete a certain step. So you can imagine this as when they're in the car park, they have to view the instructions, the welcome to their day, or what their first day of the job is. And once they read that instruction, then they can move forward to the reception. And creating these linear tours can create these kind of like training materials. So imagine certain training material you create on a PowerPoint, and you step through the different documents and stuff of what their first day would be like. There's no reason you can't do that in a 360 tour by just putting in these content widgets and creating that sort of timeline. So again, we see this as being it's ideal for new hire training, but also like increased safety. Any sort of experience you can get with certain equipment before actually going on site, the better. And then also we think this is a great use case for VR. So of course, regular 360 tours work in VR, but we find that sometimes it's not an ideal use for it. But when you're doing actually stepping through a training scenario, we find the VR to be very helpful. So when you're interacting with a machine, the 360 space is a video with spatial audio, and you can hear what it's actually like to work in that environment while you watch this video within it about what your job is to do at that point. And again, this is there's no extra work to produce this viewer content. If you just create the 360 tour, it just supports that format, and you can pass it off. So here's an example of a training scenario. So the step one will be up here. It's like, welcome to your first day. The user has to click on the introduction, and it welcomes them to the first day. And the second step is to scan your swipe card to enter. And then step 3 to sign in. You can see the sign in desk where it is, and some instructions there. And then it will guide you to go to the offices and just shows you the directions to go. And then once you get to the office, it shows that it's a hot desk, and to choose your hot desk. Then there's you can also see that this is a video playing to see what it's actually like in a day in the office. And you can see people walking around and what it sounds like. So it'll be ideal for VR. And then you complete your training. But yeah, it's very straightforward to kind of create these things. So next one is augmented reality. Once again, AR is very time consuming and expensive to create content for, and it's usually hard to create scalable content as well. So we found that, again, all the data that you're inputting into a 360 tour can just, without any extra work, produce AR content. And for example, most AR content creation tools out there, it's using 3D editors, and you're placing elements using 3D coordinates, and it's quite time consuming to do. But basically, with the 360 tours this is another reason is usually when you're on site, you wouldn't use a 360 tour because you're already there. You don't need to see images of it. But the content that's actually embedded in the 360 tour is still fairly useful to get when you're on site. And if you have a device that supports AR, there's no reason you can't use that to see it. So if you're on site and you're at a location where a 360 tour is, you can open up the AR device and you can view the embedded content overlaid on the real world. And we believe this is like an easy first step to using AR for quick access data on at your manufacturing sites. So it's maybe not the ideal or perfect scenario, but it's a great first step and easy to produce, because again, you just produce the 360 tour, and then this just works out of the box. So I have a video of it here from the Bay 3 in Mullingar. So what you got to do is everywhere you take a 360 photo, if you just place a QR code that links to the website that shows that 360 space, and then the rest is done for it. So you can see I open it, the URL on my phone, and the app recognizes that my phone is AOR supported. So it can go into the AOR mode. And here it opens up my camera view, and you can see the embedded content now, but now it's actually displayed on the real world. And it's you can see as you walk up to it, it's actually placed on those locations. And then you can interact with it just as normal. It's a little more intuitive. So you might think it's a bit of a gimmick on a phone, which it kind of is. It's not very safe to walk around with your phone pointing at everything. But this works using all the open web standards, and such as WebXR. So this works on all modern AOR headsets. For example, like the Microsoft HoloLens, this would work on it as well. And that's another reason why it's great. It's kind of like you produce this now, and when AOR headsets do improve and they do become more common, and people have the glasses when they walk onto on sites, they can just scan these QR codes and they'll see the live data appear around it. It's a great quick way to get into this technology. So that's all from me. We're always looking for more companies to explore these new features using 360 imagery. So if you think of any more complex scenarios, we'd love to do like a pilot with you and further flesh this out. Contact us at info@imor.ie, or if you want to contact me directly, it's just charliebean@imor.ie. Thanks.